Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cheesy Movies Podcast. Today, we gotta go fast and break the fourth wall.
I'm gonna accelerate!
He must accelerate!
Oh, my toes burn.
Your toes?
Can we not make a feet fetish joke in the first 10 seconds of the podcast?
About Sonic. Those people really know what's up when it comes to toe fetishes.
Sonic fans or Sonic?
Not Sonic himself. No, he is a victim.
He's a victim of the internet.
No, there are some freaks online.
You know the meme clip that's like, do you think God stays in space because he too is afraid of what he created?
Yes.
You think Sonic's like that with the fan art? You think if he did exist and was like out in space somewhere,
he would have already ran away, brother. He would have ran away.
He'd gotta go fast to the edge of the universe to get away from that shit?
Yes.
He'd probably act like Omni-Man.
What? Beat someone to death and then fuck off for half a season?
Multiple people, probably.
Okay. So Sonic 3, everyone.
Sonic 3.
Trevor, you're the most unhinged, and Spence has some detailed thoughts he'd like to get through. What were your thoughts on the movie?
I can't believe Sonic turned 3 today. That's a really stupid joke.
We're keeping that in. We have to keep the dead silence to the laugh, too. What was he before? 2?
Yes! It's weird that in the first one they didn't label him as 1, though.
Isn't there like a comic or a TV series where he was a kid like that? Like
yeah.
Baby Sonic?
Yeah.
Would that be Subsonic? Okay, I'll see myself out now.
Sonic 3 is a clever extension of the first 2 films. And while sticking to the core material, has its own funny jabs, including Jim Carrey having a semi-awkward romantic relationship with himself.
I feel like it was more a familial relationship because, you know, it was his grandpa.
Okay, but that dance scene in the laser room was freaky as hell.
Spoilers, by the way.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a spoiler review. If you haven't seen Sonic 3, Too Fast, Too Sonic, I guess listen to us anyway.
Should have been faster. Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast. So you thought it was a clever extension of what came before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair enough.
I think it shares the same witty humor of the first one, while also trying to expand on Sonic and not too much on the human characters. Because, I mean, yes, they were good supporting characters in the first film, but I think it's good that they moved on, though it does kind of make Sonic 1 feel a lot different from the other 2 installments in the series. Because the other 2, they really do just feel like films that are about Sonic and his friends. But the first one is like Sonic trying to acclimate to human life, and that experience is left almost non-existent in the next 2.
With the exception of Dr. Eggman, the Sonic humans felt very one-note and kind of like non-functional as far as characters go.
It is disappointing to see that Tom is not really like present at all in the other 2. I mean, he's there, right? But he was like Sonic's buddy in the first one.
Tom was like Steve from Blue's Clues.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it's called Sonic the movie, not Tom the movie.
I mean, yeah, I get that.
I mean, Tom was a supporting character in the first movie. Regardless, he was one of the 2 main characters on their road trip.
Who was the other one?
With the introduction.
Sorry.
God damn.
Was it Sonic?
No, it was Knuckles.
Knuckles was in the first one?
No.
Anyway, with the inclusion of Tails in the second one, he's got his sidekick now. And, I mean, again, they're Sonic movies. You're not going to see the Sonic movies with new Tails and Knuckles for Tom.
I guess
and
it's,
his puppet.
I guess it's like
Little Tom.
you always want characters to
Don't
be
talk to
good,
me about
even if
like
they don't
that.
matter a whole lot or are just supporting characters. And the fact that they were there kind of acting like they were on the set of Blue's Clues felt kind of one note. And it did kind of take you out of the movie. Because, like, in one scene, Keanu Reeves is acting his heart out and waxing poetically about the world that abandoned him, the people that died, and how everyone needs to pay. And in the next scene, Tom is like, I have a puppet. This is my personality for the next 15 seconds. Do you see the ventriloquist joke? I see the ventriloquist joke.
It's pretty, yeah. It's such a deviation from the first one. And hopefully, I get it. It's kind of an inevitable thing because they keep expanding the cast with more characters from, the actual Sonic series. So it's not really something that I recommend they pedal back to, but it is an experience we won't be getting again, and that's pretty clear with the third movie.
But I'm totally okay with that because I'm going to go see a Sonic movie. I want to go see Sonic. Okay?
I guess it's like Sonic feels more grounded and believable if the people around Sonic are grounded and believable,
Well, Knuckles is grounded. They said so in the movie. Okay, I'll see myself out again.
You know what I mean, though. Like, yeah, you go to an Iron Man movie to see Iron Man, but the fact that, like, Nick Fury's there or War Machine's there and they act realistically like a person would in those situations makes the Iron Man movie better because there are more believable characters acting around Iron Man, who is himself a fantastic character. It's like, yeah, sure, Sonic himself is this, like, zany, not quite fourth wall breaking, but sometimes he'll flirt with it, kind of fast kids show character. But that doesn't mean the adults need to pretend they're on the set of a kids show. If they act and respond in a way that an adult believably could, it does make the movie better.
Yeah.
It also would make Sonic's humor hit harder. If everyone wasn't making Sonic jokes, Sonic making Sonic jokes would be funnier.
It is kind of weird that, like, by the end of the third movie, they're kind of acting like, or not the end of the third movie, the end of the second movie to the beginning of the third movie, they're kind of acting like they're all their kids, when these are all, like, earth-shattering, aliens from a different existence entirely. Just kind of weird, I get that they're maybe acclimated to at least Sonic, but these guys just came along. And they don't exactly illustrate how long it's been between the second and the third, unless I'm missing a specific detail.
I've always had a question about Sonic canon, and this isn't a criticism of the movie specifically, but just something worth asking. So, you know how The Flash has this thing called the Infinite Mass Punch, right?
Uh-huh.
Where essentially he runs around the world fast enough to generate a ton of momentum, and then he punches someone with an infinite amount of mass because of how fast he's moving, right?
Yes.
Does Sonic run fast enough that Knuckles' power set is invalidated?
No.
Really?
Because Knuckles can move really fast too, that's the problem. See, you need to keep in mind that Knuckles, at the very least, his people hunted the people that raised Sonic. Now, those people that raised Sonic, obviously, to some degree, have to have the ability to keep control of Sonic, because otherwise he would just run out of the house and just wander off, do whatever. So, maybe it's a bit of a stretch, but Knuckles and his tribe being able to kill and capture the people that raised Sonic, you could presumably pull from that sort of information the fact that Knuckles can beat Sonic. Maybe. It's hard to...
It's like... That might be how it's presented, but if you look at it, it does seem like it kind of falls
It's not a
apart
direct
under
matchup, but we don't... In the movies, like, Knuckles can just beat up Sonic. Sonic doesn't exactly outspeed him. Maybe he does by a little bit, and he probably does by a lot in, like, the actual running segments, but when it comes to one-on-one, like, combat, they kind of equal each other in speed, which is kind of weird.
That is really weird.
Like, when we're in the scene near the end of 2, where Knuckles and Sonic are fighting while Dr. Robotnik grabs the Master Emerald. They're like on equal ground, and then Sonic eventually loses the fight. Now you can see Sonic like jump up on the ceiling and like do his whirlwind spin and like dash at Knuckles. But Knuckles can also just kind of like clothesline him and punch him, and I think maybe it's like Sonic does outspeed him, but Sonic doesn't have the combat capacity to avoid his punches.
That seems really
Stupid.
dumb.
Yes.
It's kind of like how Quicksilver in Age of Ultron should never lose to anything ever.
But he does.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like how he's running past the hammer, and it cuts to how he views the world, and it's like slow motion. He looks at the hammer, and he's like, oh, I should pick this up. And if he didn't try to pick up the hammer in that moment, don't all the Avengers just lose?
Yeah.
Because he's moving faster than they can perceive, and he can just punch them faster than they could possibly react. Like, if Sonic is that much faster than Knuckles, how does Knuckles land a punch? And is Sonic moving fast enough that he can punch as hard or just a little less hard than Knuckles?
This is probably a stretch on the movie's part to make it more thematic, because in canon, it's probably the case that Sonic could just avoid Knuckles, but that wouldn't make for a very cool fight scene.
I mean, it kind of would. There's a very awesome clip of Muhammad Ali boxing, and this guy like throws like 15 or 20 punches, right? And Muhammad Ali is just, it looks like he's standing still, but if you slow the footage down, it'll show him like just dodging each punch by like maybe 1/10 of an inch and just sitting there going, ooh, just kind of dancing past all of them. And like, that's a super awesome visual. So,
It'd be pretty cool.
Yes, Spence?
I guess maybe they could have illustrated him like, I don't know, like Sonic moving really fast and hitting Knuckles, but because Knuckles has higher endurance and like durability in general, Sonic doesn't actually hurt him that bad.
That's fair. I guess it is also a kid's movie, but I always bring up the thing that like kids deserve good stories too that are logically
There's also
coherent.
like context from the original media too.
Yeah.
It's not, the Sonic movie isn't the first ever showing of Sonic.
I think this might be the slowest showing of Sonic, though, because I'm pretty sure in the comics and in every TV series, he's faster than he is in the movies.
Yeah.
And I don't know what his cannon speeds in the games are, but I'm sure they fluctuate.
They showed at the beginning of the first movie that he moves 300 miles per hour. But that's not when he's charged up and he's just screwing off. He's just running around. So, Bro can run way faster than 300 miles per hour. I mean, he generated enough kinetic energy to electromagnetically pulse the entire world. And pardon me, I'm not a physicist or anything, but that's probably faster
That
than
does
300
sound,
miles per hour.
That does sound like faster than light travel. Also, he's Sonic.
Massively faster.
He's
than
also
light.
Sonic. Unless Sonic is faster than sound, like, you just missed the point of the character.
Yeah.
I guess Knuckles is always invalidated, and that's why he's so angry. Meanwhile, Tails' power is flight, which is equally useless when you're on a team with a speedster. But he makes himself useful by building an airplane.
I don't know. Sonic's weird. Anyway, we're glossing over something here. Obvious. Hell, we're not even really talking about the actual third installment itself.
Right.
What did you think overall?
I liked it. I thought it was a great movie. I enjoyed the fight choreography a lot. I thought Jim Carrey was a standout performance, and he did really well. I think John Wick did much better voice acting than I thought he was going to, and he really sold the role. Thank you, John Wick. Very
cool. Very positive.
I thought there were a few plot holes and several contrived plot points.
There were a few weird things for sure, like
Yeah.
the general showing up in the chow shop. That was weird, with no protection, by the way, and just literally dying. Bro literally did the fucking, you know, the toad dying, like at the start of fucking Shrek 3, the king. He struck that same pose.
Yeah, also the end of the movie was a little weird, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they changed how the climax worked to have, like, Eggman and Shadow up there longer than they were in the video games.
Yes. Well, to be fair, in the original game, they already plan on just shooting the moon because it would basically offset the tides, and it would still cause cataclysmic events. But he wanted to shoot the moon. In the movie, they divert it to shoot the moon. Well, not even they don't even divert it to shoot the moon. They just accidentally shave off like a third of it.
Which
And they go literally. They just go whoops.
that's still apocalyptic.
Literally, everyone's gonna die, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like Eggman could probably have done what he was doing remotely. He didn't have to die to do that. You know, Shadow was already pushing
Yeah,
it
I don't know
off.
why Eggman didn't have a backup plan to get out of the giant, what was it, Genesis cannon, I believe?
Yeah.
It was called something like that. I don't remember specifically.
Or he could have just jumped into the vacuum of space as things were blowing up. Like, there were a lot of things that could have been done differently.
I mean, at the same time, they really pull a fast one on us because he didn't die on screen. And to be fair, in the second one, when he falls out of the egg bot, like, it kind of just looks like he's gonna fucking die. They left that up to the imagination.
I do like the idea that he dies in every movie.
and
there's
there's just a clone.
There's not a clone. There's just always some convoluted explanation for how he came back.
Actually, this exact thing happened. Skibbity, and now I'm here.
Yeah, it's very much a... I wish the plot was smarter. I wish some of the characters were smarter, because it was very close to being a great film, you know? Like, Eggman's line as he's sacrificing himself, like, if I can't rule the world, I might as well save it. That goes so hard.
The hardest line ever.
I wish it was more earned with the plot, and, like, I wish there was more foreshadowing to that kind of attitude in the dialogue, you know? I wish the characters were less Steve from Blue's Clues and more supporting cast from a semi-serious superhero movie, you know? But, all in all, I do think it was a great film. I liked it a lot.
Okay, what about Supersonic and Silver Shadow? That scene went so hard. Straight up Dragon Ball ass fight.
I simultaneously felt like it got too much and too little screen time.
Really?
Yeah.
That was the coolest shit ever.
It was really...
I mean, to be fair, we were watching it in theater, so it felt, like, really impactful, because they had all the bassy, like, explosions in the seats.
It was quite an amazing fight scene. I do think the reason I feel like it outstayed its welcome is that there was the Marvel quipping back and forth. And that made it kind of hard to... That, like, takes you out of the moment, you know?
Yeah.
But I also wanted to see more of it, because in the games...
I think everyone did in there, to be fair.
In the games and show, how it works is Shadow is just more powerful than Sonic.
Until the emeralds get involved.
And then Sonic is more powerful than Shadow.
Sonic can harness the emerald's power better.
Yeah, and I really wish there was a way they could have demonstrated that on screen. Like Shadow just overconfidently, like, blocking something and it not being blocked. Or, like, you know, some...
Like, getting cocky and then just Sonic putting him in his place.
Yeah, I wanted...
With that, like, demeaning attitude.
Yeah, I wanted more scenes of Sonic just beating Shadow while they were both powered up. Because that would have been really fun to see. And I feel like Shadow definitely deserves it with the people he's killed and all that.
I mean, to be fair, without the power of the emeralds, there's no way that was going to happen. Shadow shit on the gang. All three of them, not just Sonic.
Yeah.
Like, collectively, the gun ambush, like the first actual fight scene, absolutely shitted on.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is a good thing, because it showed the weakness of each teammate.
Yeah. Except Tails, who's all weakness.
I mean, listen, okay, if dude doesn't have his kamikaze plane, like, that, or there's, like, a mountain to fly off of, what is Blood doing?
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, it's like this, right? Like, I really wanted Shadow to get his, like... Yeah, I wanted his, like, humbled moment, you know? Before they just immediately became friends. That would have been really nice.
I mean, he did have that.
Yeah, but it was after.
After. Well, I know, but during the beatdown, when they were at the...
During the beatdown.
It was at the end of it. When they were
when they go to the moon.
Yes.
I guess it wasn't like... It was kind of there, but it wasn't enough, you know? we got the sense that Sonic got the upper hand for a second, but we didn't get a sense of like, oh shit, Sonic
be fair,
is kicking his ass.
We don't even really know if they were buddies.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't really read like buddies. It was kind of like someone reaching out and understanding someone a little bit, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Maybe changing the intentions of that person. It's like, trying to convince someone not to self-harm or anything like that. But, like...
On the other hand, Sonic is and will continue to be kind of just like a pretty bad story that people like because of individually good parts of it. Like, nobody likes Sonic because it has good writing. They like it because the games were fast-paced when they came out.
Really, like, iconic.
And the character designs are really good and unique and cool in sort of a Pokemon, like, kind of way. Where, like, the animals are small enough and brightly colored enough that they're eye-catching and appealing, I don't think anyone's going to Sonic for, like, great writing or great fight choreography. So the fact that we got some decent writing and some decent fights is actually
like kind of hype.
It's saying a lot for the Sonic franchise, especially if you remember some of the Sonic games that came out.
Yeah. Look, the good thing is that this is our third movie, and all of them have been pretty good so far. I gotta say, they're leagues above the Mario movie. Leagues above them. Like, it kind of felt like, because we reviewed the Mario movie on here, it kind of felt like it was just shilled out so they could have Mario on the TV screen, just simply put. But, like, the Sonic movies feel like they want to keep to the actual original content and, like, make a cool story out of it. While also playing into, into the real world. Because, like, Sonic doesn't really have any reflection of that in the games.
Yeah, I guess one last thought before I turn things over to Spencer's immaculate notes for the movie. I will say, it very much felt like a post-TikTok movie, Where, like, it was almost like each scene was clip fishing.
Oh, God, we gotta bring up the flossing.
No, the flossing's the first movie.
And the second. It's in the second movie, too.
The flossing
It ended in the third movie.
Yeah.
There was none of it. So it's already a better movie.
It's just very much a post-TikTok movie,
Yeah.
Like, you can tell scenes are shot to grab your attention. There are one-liners and two-liners.
It's so easy to farm off of that movie.
Yeah. It's very much like...
It's already happening.
Yeah. Which, on the one hand, free marketing, I don't hate it. On the other hand, I kind of like it when movies are well-paced and jokes are well-spaced out, so...
Okay, but the pacing's better than Mario.
I would agree with that. Absolutely. There is better pacing.
Look, at the very least, it has an extra half hour of runtime.
A half hour of runtime does not mean a movie is better or worse paced. Full stop.
It certainly has more time to do it.
That's just not how pacing works. Pacing is about working with the runtime you have. So if you have an hour-length movie, a half-hour length short, an hour-and-a-half movie, or a 2.5-hour movie, pacing can be an issue in all of those. It doesn't matter how long runtime you have or how short runtime you have. Pacing is about how you use your runtime efficiently. And the Mario movie, from what I remember, was paced very much in like a classic hero's journey structure, where the first act was Mario is in New York, he's a plumber, he gets trapped into like the plumber dimension, Luigi gets caught, you have like rising action, you have a training arc, and then you have his first conflict where he kind of fails to beat Donkey Kong. I'm not going to say the Mario movie was well paced, but I really don't like the idea that like, hey, it was a longer movie, therefore it's better paced. I think Sonic 3...
I'm not making that statement.
Sonic 3 definitely...
I'm saying it simply has more runtime to utilize. I'm not saying it did it perfectly with that additional runtime.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It does feel very exposition dumpy for the first, like, 30 minutes. Maybe
longer. A bit much. Maybe with the sort of, like, shadow flashbacks. There was quite a bit of that was just kind of unnecessary.
I mean, there were just several lines of dialogue in the before Shadow's introduced that are just like, okay, here's the line of dialogue we have to say what happened in the first movie. Here's the line of dialogue we have to say what happened in the second movie. You know, intro exposition dumps is not indicative of a well-paced film, you know? I do think it was paced like a reasonable action movie, is how I'll talk about Sonic's pacing. I don't think it was really good. I don't think it was a weak point, but it was definitely paced like an action movie, you know? Where it was like, okay, here's all the dialogue we need to have. Now we're going to move on to this action set piece.
I mean,
and sometimes it was a comedy set piece instead of an action set piece.
It was also paced especially like a sequel action movie, because we're introduced to the villain before we ever see what happens to the heroes. I guess villain, quotation marks, depends on your whole perception of Shadow. He's a lot of things. He's a bundled little fun, quilly black bag of emotions.
They did go with the classic Disney, not the classic Disney, the newer Disney idea of, and the villain for this movie is family issues. Which is a trend that's been going on in movies for the past, 2 decades or so.
To be fair, we got him with the gun. We got the gun scene.
We did get a gun scene.
I'm so happy about that. I'm just kind of sad he didn't shoot anyone with it.
He tried to.
Well, yeah, Sonic. Oh, I'm going to shoot this guy that's faster than light with my gun.
We don't know if he's faster than light. He should be.
Canonically.
We don't know.
He's canonically supersonic.
We know
he's
that
faster than the speed of sound, which is faster than a bullet.
We know that he has to be faster than light to do some of the things he's done, but he doesn't act like a faster than light character in several circumstances. So it's really
again
hard
inconsistency,
to guess.
But it's also a family movie, you know.
Anyway, Spencer, you have some immaculate notes on the topic of the film?
Not immaculate, but I have notes.
All right, hit us.
So first things first, to start the movie, an entire facility has 8 total guards.
Yeah, that was kind of
because as
they probably counterpoint. That facility has basically been completely inactive for about 50 years because it's said in the dialogue that Shadow has been in containment for 50 years. They probably had really uptight security to start, but funding probably rolled off because the original people that really cared about the projects were either dead or missing. So, the government was like, this is a problem we, gotta keep up with, but...
I mean, it's another product of poor writing, right? The plot can be kind of torn apart if you think about it too hard.
Yeah.
Shadow's a source of infinite, clean, renewable energy, but they were okay just fridging it. They wanted to fridge him indefinitely, but they didn't want to kill him.
They want to utilize him later, but it's also
how are you going to utilize him later if you cryo-freeze him? Because, then he's not aware of time passing, so he's going to be just as emotional no matter what point in the future you wake him up.
Yeah, but...
what do you do if he breaks out? Do you have countermeasures in place? No, you don't, because you thought he'd always be frozen. There are just several points you could use to pick apart the idea of Shadow being cryo-frozen for several decades. It doesn't make sense when you really think about it.
I mean, in their defense, they kind of don't know how to control him other than freezing him. We see the result when Shadow gets out. They have to call on Sonic and, the team.
Freezing him isn't a way they could control him. That's such a plot.
It didn't work.
Why did he consent to be frozen?
And also...
He didn't.
How? No one could stop him in the future. How did they stop him then?
Actually, yeah, I got
if you think about the plot too hard,
I don't
it really
remember,
does
but
fall
I'm
apart.
pretty
really
sure
does
that there
hurt
was
your
something
fucking head.
in one of his flashbacks that showed him getting shoved into this cryogen.
He consented to being captured and monitored, and after the girl died, he consented to get put in the thing.
I don't think
he might have been
he got forced.
He might have been knocked roughly into the tank, but he would have had to consent because they have no way to contain him at any point.
He can literally teleport.
He can literally teleport. They don't have X-Men style power nullification handcuffs. There's nothing they can do to shut off the things he can do. He wasn't forced.
It'd be interesting if they did.
The 8 people with guns were more of a threat to him when he woke up than the people with less, like with lower tech guns in the flashback.
That actually brings up a lot of questions. Like, how did he know how to operate the motorcycle he got on? Because, I mean, yeah, I understand motorcycles existed 50 years back, but maybe not like the same way the one he was riding operated.
I mean, for the most part, motorcycles really haven't changed other than just style.
I mean, Shadow's also a super fast, like, being. You could make the Quicksilver argument that, like, oh, he just opened the trunk.
It's completely stupid.
Read someone's user manual. Okay. Put it away. Got on it, and the whole thing happened in, like, 2 seconds.
I mean, yeah, technically. Okay. But also, he just uses it to evade Sonic, and it somehow outpaces Sonic, and he also goes up a building with it.
That's also in the canon. He uses chaos energy to make it move fast enough.
I know, but that's such a stupid reason.
It's also...
This isn't even an attack at the movie. It's just a stupid idea in general. It is cool looking.
It
makes him
cool.
look... Yeah, it makes him look cool. Maybe that's why he does it, because he thinks he looks cooler doing that.
Maybe he can't drive a motorcycle.
And he just lets
using,
the chaos...
like, super fast telekinesis to push it like a Hot Wheels car.
That goes hard.
He's, like, revving the engine for no reason.
We need to get Shadow one of those, like, kickflip boards that you use your fingers with. You know, you kickflip them over the little ramps. No?
Mm-hmm. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, like, the whole plot falls apart if you think about it too hard. This is one of my criticisms of the movie. I get that it's a kid's film, but kids deserve plots they're allowed to think about too.
Yeah.
Plot hole of the movie, Shadow shouldn't have and can't be captured.
Unless he is emotionally manipulated to.
Yeah.
Which the only way they could have emotionally manipulated him was dead. Well, actually, no. Because I'm forgetting this point. Gerald, the only other person that had a connection with him, had him encased.
If he didn't want
to
be encased,
the thing that's confusing about that is why would Gerald plan on that to open him up 50 years later? Because Gerald's the reason why he gets out.
Yeah. Listen. He needed to consent to go in the cage. They can't force him to do anything.
He did consent to Gerald. Because Gerald asked him to. And Gerald was one of the people he cared about.
Maybe Gerald was still there when he came out. It doesn't make sense when you think about it. Spence, what were your other points?
What?
Gotta accelerate.
Oh, yeah.
The 8 guards. We got to 8 guards.
We had literally the first fucking note. Anyway, to continue.
It had 8 guards because they didn't think about it.
Yes.
They couldn't afford 9. Budgeting, am I right?
Next, it was just the cold ass intro of Shadow to the group of Team Sonic.
Yeah.
Where everything's on fire. He's walking up a car with a gun in his hand. He's like, "You're a colorful bunch."
Bro found a way to call them retards.
I think he called them gay.
Bruh.
I mean, that is a joke that went out of style 50 years ago.
Oh my god.
Wait, why is he using, like,
Shadow,
slurs?
Dude, Shadow is, like, really racist. They just had to hold him back because, you know, it's a family movie.
Yeah, so Shadow's, like, sense of humor would be really, really outdated.
Anyway, from there, he gets the bike with the gun. He gets in the pose for the Shadow the Hedgehog cover for his game, which that was pretty cool. Also, continuing on that the bike chase, dude, going up the side of the tower, he does the fucking Akira slide up the tower.
It was cool.
Which was
that goes hard.
I know cool. The rule of cool and like that's its only plot point, but again, that was fucking cool.
I mean, listen, Shadow is basically a Super Saiyan with telekinesis and explosion powers.
Dude,
and
he could literally do
anything.
He could do pull-ups with no arms.
I think he could, yeah.
I need that image to exist.
It probably does. You'll just have to dig through a lot of
the
other Sonic art.
Oh.
Dude, I'm just saying,
anyway,
those dogs have been aging in those fucking shoes for 50
years. Moving on.
50 years, Gerald. That's why you broke him out. You wanted to sniff those dogs.
Shut the fuck your mouth. Spence, please
Dear
continue.
God. Anyway, next up I have Knuckles' crippling ghost phobia. Oh yeah, how he's fucking
Jump
terrified of
scared.
ghosts.
Yeah, was that set up in any of the other movies? Is that something
No.
in canon?
No.
Nope.
No.
It was probably more just a gaff. A goof.
A goof.
Because
something
it's-
intriguing and
It's because
click-worthy.
he's the strongest character and he has this fear of ghosts.
That is comical. I would have
Comical,
liked
silly, funny.
it's-
I would have liked if it was something that was set up in the second movie, or like maybe even in the first scene they're telling stories around the campfire and Knuckles is more affected by the ghost story,
Yeah.
or
even just
some
anything that
setup.
applied to like his backstory, you know.
Like literally any setup, and that joke gets 10 times funnier.
Oh, and then I forgot, before that, back when we first see Eggman during his horrible breakup phase, where he's watching rom-com, or no, just romantic
it's
dramas.
it's rom-com.
Spanish soap operas.
Yeah.
Spanish soap-
Rom-coms
oh,
is romantic comedy.
Yes.
Like 50
Yeah,
First
Yes,
Dates.
there wasn't
I
a lot
meant-
of comedy in those.
I meant more of dramas. Anyway, but when Eggman gets his, when he puts on his suit again, it doesn't fit him anymore. So he rips off his assistant Stone's shirt, and he's like, "Here you go. Here's some fabric. Sew it in." And when they get to the test site where Shadow is, you note when it cuts back to Stone and let's see, he was with Knuckles, right?
Yes.
You see him with a tie, with no shirt, with a blazer on top.
Stone was with Tails.
He was with
Knuckles went
Tails?
alone because
Okay.
he was scared by the ghost. And then
Right.
Shadow
So-
appeared.
Right.
And
But-
Tails was like, "Yeah, I'm friends with him. What's your work relationship?"
Yeah, and he was like, yeah.
It's complicated.
It's complicated.
relationship status complicated.
But yeah, I just thought it was funny that he still didn't have a shirt on. But he had enough time to tie the tie with the blazer.
I mean, what? Do you have a backup shirt on standby?
No, it's just funny.
No,
it's a
it's
good
just funny.
gag. It's a visual gag that went through scenes, and I like that they didn't point it out too. They trusted the audience
was
to
just
be
there.
smart enough to laugh at it, and that means a lot because like there are so many movies out there.
Just the red circles and the arrow, like the
Yeah, there are so many movies
the
that do
vine
that.
suspense sound effect.
They'll be like, okay, this joke happened in this scene, and then they'll have another line pointing fun at the same joke, you know, and they'll hammer it in. It's like, we're gonna make a running joke out of this, guys. It's more fun if you don't point it out, you know.
Thor's fat now. Hey guys, you know Thor's fat.
Anyway,
Hey, by the way, Thor's fat.
continuing on.
Lebowski.
Continuing on. Eggman's quill addiction.
Well, he just like me for real, but replace the quill with
He get that quill and
galaxy
he go,
gas. Why did he get freaky every time?
I don't know.
It's genetic too.
Yeah,
Old Eggman
like
has
yeah,
a
Gerald.
quill addiction
Yeah.
too.
Didn't at one point, yes, it was when he agreed to go with them to the island. He requested a quill from Sonic.
To be fair, we didn't exactly see anyone else partake in the activity.
Yeah, maybe
So-
it's really
It was-
stimulating.
Yeah, like maybe everyone reacts that way, and we just saw the freaky bastards.
What I really liked about that is it worked as a good setup and payoff because it's connected to Sonic, so it went Super Saiyan 2, and he used it to just like blast his grandpa off the platform at the end of the movie. And it was a very fun, like, that's cool. That thing, it mattered. It came up.
It went pretty hard. I will say, Grandpa's death was not very bombastic. He did just kind of like they didn't even attach like a funny noise to it. He's just gone in the chaos energy.
That way they couldn't bring him back because maybe he teleported.
But
My brother in Christ, we saw him dematerialize in the chaos energy.
He didn't teleportation is.
He
It's
didn't.
dematerializing.
He didn't die
and
off
then
screen. He did not die off screen.
He didn't die on screen either. He just vanished. He could come back.
so anyway,
Somehow
the-
Palpatine returned.
No balls.
The I got Eggman on Eggman interaction
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
with
They are
a fourth
freaky
wall
bunch.
break.
With the fourth wall break.
And it was really good because they did a pretty good job at seamlessly adding both Jim Carrey and Jim Carrey into the same part of the movie.
Yeah, I really wonder how they shot that because they only have one Jim Carrey.
Because they
I guess to be fair,
kinda
like
splice
Grandpa
it
had a
with
bunch
someone.
of makeup, so they might have been able to pull
Not
some
only
of those
that,
scenes out for the
but
stunt
they
double.
have people in like green screen suits. So when the two interact, they can interact, but they just splice in Eggman.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
Gerald,
in the scene where
and vice
he's
versa.
holding him like on his waist and he's swinging him around, they probably just gave him a fake set of legs with the suit on, and he probably just swung around like an idiot, going whee! And then for the next shot, they probably just had like a set of arms around like Grandpa's legs, and then just this machine spinning him around, or like another dude.
Yeah.
I like the idea that they shot the same scene twice.
Exactly.
Just one time Jim Carrey was dancing, and the other time Jim Carrey was being danced with.
You know,
Yes.
that reminds me of an older movie called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Remember that one?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
There are like
Anyway.
6 of those.
Yes.
Like a
Well,
new
no,
one's
specifically-
coming out this year.
Specifically, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory
Don't
from like
remind me.
mid 2000s. Anyway,
That one is mid.
so the Oompa Loompa from that movie, there was only one, and what they had him do the dance for each Oompa Loompa one at a time. So he would do the dance here, shift over, do the dance here,
The
shift
flesh
over,
writhes, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'd go crazy doing that shit. I hope that man got paid.
He was an Oompa Loompa. You think
He got paid in cocoa beans.
he didn't get paid?
I have read the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory books, and I can tell you that Willy Wonka is very kind to his Oompa Loompas. It's not a Santa. It's not a Santa is like a work violator to the elves.
He doesn't send them to
The
Guantanamo
strawberries
Bay.
taste like strawberries. The snozberries taste like snozberries. Ugh, this carrot tastes all musty. God damn Oompa Loompas.
Okay, going back to Sonic now. Anyway, the wholesome montage of the Eggman fam
Yeah, that was interesting.
with Santa.
I don't know if I would call it wholesome.
What are you talking about? It was wholesome. It was Gerald teaching Ivo how to ride a bike,
Yeah.
and
I mean, it was
It
all
was
in
wholesome.
VR.
well, yeah, but it was wholesome.
Yeah,
For as much as a supervillain can be wholesome.
I guess.
it was neat. I do have to say it's kind of funny that Old Man makes the point to Eggman that no one has cared about him his entire life, and then at the end of the movie proceeds to say, I don't care about you and I haven't your entire life because my granddaughter died. Which is just missing the forest for the trees, you know? It's a very, like, poignant, very, like, well, you are just an
Yeah,
asshole.
you are completely
Yep.
one-faced. You're just terrible.
You only cared about your granddaughter because what, she was a cuter kid, question mark?
Yeah, that's not really expanded on why he specifically cared so much about her and not his son. Grandson, my bad. I don't know.
It does feel weird because they have the same like spot. In
Also, he's
familial
depicted
relation.
old.
Yeah,
And keep in mind, that was 50 years ago?
yeah.
Or 30.
Or
Bro is
30.
immortal.
Bro's immortal.
Any
Jim Carrey is immortal.
I mean,
He'll
yeah,
never
but
die.
like, Gerald.
Anyway, I also pointed out how
Bro's on those horse... the horse steroids.
Shut the fuck your mouth.
Like, so much ketamine in that dude's blood system.
Anyway, I was pointing out how funny and ironic it was that Gunn's headquarter was in London, one of the like most anti-gun places currently.
Yeah, they should call it Knife. if
To
they're
be
gonna have
fair,
their
that
headquarters
is
in
the
London.
most effective place to have it.
Like,
Like, who else is gonna beat them there? They all have knives.
Yeah, no one else has a gun there. That's why guns gotta be there.
Exactly. It's like a
no,
force
but it's just
field.
the gun headquarter in London. I thought that was just
British people.
You can't air quotes people after saying British. We're not in a revolutionary era. They're still people, Trevor.
Have you seen what's on their breakfast plates?
Yeah. An immaculate breakfast.
Beans and toast.
Beans and toast goes hard.
Freaking
Spence, we've got enough evidence.
Yes.
Move in. We've got him.
Anyway, I got the point of the Supersonic versus, I know this isn't what he's called, but Silver Shadow fight scene, which that did go hard, even though it would have been nice to see a little bit more of it. Bug Zapper, i.e. Gramps fucking dies. Now, to go back on what your point was
I guess there was a tiny zap sound.
It was a kind of like a Bug Zapper.
It is the grimmest on-screen death we see.
Oh my god, I just realized something.
What?
What if Shadow just got really angry like he did in the energy reactor, and he just ran around the world like that and just killed everyone with the Chaos Warp Field? Like, I don't know if he'd be able to move that fast, but, you know, it's not exactly measured in a numerical value. So he could run across the whole world, creating that energy field and instantly dissolving everyone.
He does need to hype himself up for a little space. I don't know if he could hype himself up for the whole world. But then again, in the first movie, it's established Sonic can do that.
Sonic can do it.
And Sonic and Shadow move at the same speed.
If anything, Shadow's a bit better. So
is Shadow faster or better? Because they're
better
depicted at the same speed when Shadow's on a motorcycle.
Yeah, but he's on a movie logic.
He's also telekinesising his motorcycle, so maybe he.
I guess we need to take one of the pills, and we need to look at this with canon logic or movie logic.
Okay.
That
movie logic, I'm sure he could, but only if it was for a good reason, not if it was to just kill everyone. Because otherwise, the canon doesn't make any sense. And you don't need Jim Carrey in the movie.
Also, Shadow is canonically slower than Sonic,
but
artificially made faster because of his stupid-ass shoes that he skates on. He's got, like, booster shoes.
Those kicks are sweet, by the way.
I mean, yes, they do look swanky. But
stanky-ass feet.
Okay, moving on.
Anyway, continuing on to, they cut the fucking moon in half. Quote, Emrakul is free. End quote.
It's a really niche joke.
It's getting nicher.
Tamio got Emrakul trapped in the moon in MTG lore, and they just cut the moon open. The spaghetti monster's free, and everyone's gonna die.
I feel like Lovecraft also thought the moon was hollow, and there was like a bunch of evil things in there. So he'd probably be like, oh shit, what's in there?
Oh. I mean, look, I'm just saying, we haven't been on the moon, like us three. We haven't.
Yeah.
There could be stuff on the inside.
I also haven't been to Denmark. Do you think it doesn't exist?
Maybe. We haven't gotten a viewer from there yet. If you're from Denmark, you're cool.
Have you heard the Finland fallacy?
No.
The population of Finland is a small enough percentage of the world's population that it's a rounding error. Ergo, you could round and say that Finland doesn't exist and there's no evidence of Finland existing. If you take numbers out of context.
I guess we haven't been to Finland, so...
Oh my god!
I mean, I haven't been to Finland either. See. And then the last bit.
The doctor, he put his hands over my eyes, and everything was black. It's like nothing existed. Then, Mother, you were there. Then he told me, son... You lack object permanence.
Alright, last thing, Spence.
Last thing is Canada, Iceland, and Australia hate the moon.
Yeah, because there was...
Okay, but why?
Because they helped fund... They were in the credits helping fund the movie, and the movie blows up part of the moon. Meaning that those three countries endorse as national propaganda that they hate the moon.
Canada, Iceland, and Australia. Also, you hate the moon.
Also, there are three main characters: Tails,
dude,
Knuckles.
Those three countries are filled
Sonic.
with Eldrazi because they wanted the moon cut open so their mother would be free.
So
reference.
Okay, that's
Australia, Iceland, and Canada are all Eldrazi.
Yes.
Oh boy, for people at home, Eldrazi is a thing in a niche card game. It's going to become a more niche card game as they keep overprinting it.
Brother is going to die soon.
Magic the Gathering lore. It's a Magic the Gathering joke. I'll gather your magic. All right. Any other references?
No. But
Guys, I think I know why those countries wanted the moon cut open.
Why?
The moon's made of cheese.
no, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
It's made of rock.
It's got holes in it, and sometimes it's yellow. Have you tried the moon before?
Have you licked the moon?
Yes.
You have? What does it taste like?
Trevor, licking someone who's mooning doesn't count.
Cheese. It tastes like cheese.
I doubt that.
Fellas,
Heavily.
there's a statistic online.
Oh, guys, I found this out. Did you know? Could you have possibly guessed?
No way.
The most stolen thing on Earth. You'd think it'd be something like cars. Or money. Or even something kind of valuable like wine, perhaps.
I mean, it's kind of valuable.
Makeup. Because they have to lock it away, and apparently women put it in their purse.
Gold. Trinkets and baubles, perhaps.
Maybe convenient sodas, because they're easy to pocket. And, it's easy to steal if you're, like, eating at a restaurant or whatever.
But nay.
Forsooth!
It is
It's
fine a
cheese!
dairy product.
Cheese!
Apparently cheese is the most stolen object on planet Earth. I don't know if this means we succeeded or failed as a species, but it certainly means something.
What's the number?
So, 4% of all cheese is stolen.
Think about that. There is a 1 in 25 chance that the cheese pizza that you ordered from your favorite pizza chain in town has stolen cheese all over it. You're an accessory to crime.
For eating stolen cheese.
Okay.
But hold on.
Okay,
if
but
you
for
don't-
real,
if
let's
you don't
analyze
know about it.
why-
Does that make you an accessory? If you have absolutely no knowledge of it.
We do now, so we have to avoid
so
it like
first
the
of
plague.
all, to avoid a lawsuit, in case anyone watches this podcast where we talk about Sonic for nearly an hour, none of us are lawyers. This is not in any way legal advice. Thank you. Based on what I understand about the law, to be an accessory to a crime, you need to be at least kind of aware it was committed. So you can get charged as accessory to a crime if you don't know the full extent of the crime, but like if you're the getaway driver, it's an accessory.
What if I'm the cheese eater?
What if I'm the evidence disposal?
What if
So-
I eat the
And I know there's a
cheese?
1 in 25 chance I'm the evidence
So
disposal.
someone would need to reasonably prove to a jury that you know that the cheese was stolen and that you were eating it to dispose of evidence.
Okay, let's say I ordered 25 pizzas. I go up to the cashier with a smile on my face and I go, I know one of these were stolen.
Okay, but you see, the thing is, you would have to have a sample size of 25 different pizzas.
That's fine.
that
I'm
to be
ordering
true.
25 different pizzas and I'm looking at the cashier and going, I know one of these are stolen.
Wouldn't it be funny if it's just like Little Caesars pizza cheese is the only one?
Apparently the most stolen cheese is Parmesan
Parmesan?
because it's expensive.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
What
That
What are you
checks
talking about? You can get like a little tube of it at Walmart
That's
for like
not
$3.
real Parmesan.
I know.
Artisanal cheese is stolen
That's
a
the
lot.
joke.
Stupid. Before the podcast, we read some interesting
Cheese
news
lore.
articles
Absolute
about
cheese
people
lore.
just.
Cheese pirates and cheese masterminds alike.
There was an initiative by the Italian government to catch 10 cheese
Operation
masterminds.
Wine and Cheddar.
What?
Isn't
This
that
is
what
a real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, what's more believable? Catching cheese masterminds or going to war with emus?
Both are cartoon things. Those both sound like things Dr. Doofenshmirtz would do.
How much cheese can you steal before it's a crime?
So
One single cheese and then it's a crime.
it actually depends where you live. Once again, this is not a legal advice channel. None
Do
of
not
us are
steal
lawyers.
cheese. Stealing cheese is generally illegal. We're just trying to figure out an absolute value.
Okay, so there was a bunch of issues in California recently because they changed grand theft from like $100 value
To is it $9.50?
Yeah,
Also, I think that's grand larceny.
thank you. It might be. I think larceny implies breaking and entering, and shoplifting is different because you're invited into the place.
I remember hearing something about grand larceny and the law on that changing.
I'm
Bro,
pretty
how
sure.
can they lift the shop? Isn't it heavy?
Oh my god. What if we take all the stuff out of the shop and then we take the shop away? Patrick, you're leaving all the shit behind. I want the store.
You're describing what happened to Detroit.
Lord.
They took the houses first and the
Can't
product.
have shit in Detroit. Someone stole that guy's perch.
Every time when you go to your first Minecraft village, it's just...
Are you the problem in the Minecraft village?
I'm the solution.
Are you the thief in the Minecraft village?
I'm the solution.
The one who goes around stealing chairs,
He is the one who knocks.
porches,
Cheese.
houses? He's the one that cheeses.
Wait a second.
It's
There's
so
a 1 in
bizarre.
25 chance that pizza that Walter White brought back home was stolen.
The roof pizza.
The roof pizza. There was a crime literally sitting on top of the roof. Sorry, there's a 4% chance. Does it apply to each slice?
No.
It's the whole pizza.
Okay,
So,
because when the pizza's made, they take the cheese from the same damn cheese drawer.
so I looked into this. There's apparently a huge cheese black market.
How would you get into it? Asking for a friend in Minecraft and GTA.
I have no idea. But apparently that's where they sell all the cheese.
Cheese black market.
And there's been issues where
Of
people have
all
stolen too much cheese and
fucking
flooded the cheese black market.
They literally...
Why?
Oh.
Of all fucking things to have a black market for,
Okay,
fucking
here.
cheese.
Honestly, I don't want to shit on it too much. It's honestly kind of wholesome.
Let's
'cause-
lock in.
Okay.
Hear me out. Let's try and figure out why it's cheese.
Okay.
What do you think it is?
The official explanation is cheese keeps very well. It's very expensive per capita, and it's something you can sell renewably. So if you steal jewelry, you have to sell to someone who will fence it to someone who wants it. And people only usually buy jewelry like once.
But
unless
you
they're
can just
gonna
sell
it
cheese to
someone else.
people because cheese is a common good.
Yeah, you sell cheese to a black market who fences it to restaurants. So the restaurants have deniability, and the fence and you get paid.
And at the same time, it's dense enough to where you're making a profit without making too much suspicion of shipping. Like, for example, with toilet paper, like during the pandemic. If, say, you wanted to start a scalping business where you sold toilet paper in the bulk, it's kind of fucking hard to do that because toilet paper is bulky but light. Cheese, you can ship a lot of cheese per truck.
Yeah, also scalping and stealing it are just different businesses. Air quotes.
It's the same.
It might as well be.
It's very different. Listen, morally speaking,
They're both
it's the
terrible,
same damn thing.
and I think
It's
they
terrible.
both deserve death.
I hope all
I'm kidding, I'm
scalpers
being
a
exaggerating.
very horrible night's sleep. I hope you,
You know
don't
what?
have a very nice Christmas.
Bad morning.
Bad morning to you, asshat.
Okay, yes. Scalpers and thieves, morally speaking, very similar.
Poopy heads.
From a business perspective, very thoroughly different. Scalpers have overhead. Thieves have the equipment they need to do the stealing. That's it. Like,
What
scalpers
equipment
need
do you
to
need
buy
to steal
and
cheese?
resell it. A thief just needs to sell it once.
Yeah. And
What-
those PS5 Pro owners are just getting railed right now. Honestly, one for society. You know those guys are selling them at a $100 loss right now?
Good.
Good.
I know. It
I
makes me so
don't. I don't
happy.
feel bad for. I know scalpers are kind of the little guys, so like,
Yeah,
No.
sure,
No. Local businesses are the little guys.
Yeah.
Scalpers are just trying to make a quick
No, the scalpers are
fucking
the
buck.
little guys. They're just the little guys that are assholes.
They're little guys who are trying to make a quick buck.
In a very questionable, morally gray area.
Yeah. I don't respect or like scalpers, but I do recognize that there's a difference between scalpers selling things at a markup and, like,
The cheese mafia.
Wizards of the Coast deciding that they're going to up the cost of magic packs again.
Are there cheese scalpers?
Absolutely.
I would be shocked if there weren't, but at the same time, I'm trying to think of a situation where cheese is in such high demand, you could realistically buy it and sell it for a markup.
Like, for
the
example,
same way you could with like a
actual,
PS Pro.
I'm thinking about like
Parmigiano Reggiano. There is only a small amount made in a small section of, I believe it's Italy, right?
Mm-hmm. There's probably someone who scalped that, yeah.
I'm just thinking about it now. Why isn't alcohol like really high up there? Because I could see it. It has a lot of similarities to the sort of qualities of stealing
like
and selling cheese. It holds well.
Kind.
It's a common good.
So alcohol, yes. Alcohol does get stolen a lot, but there are several fail-safes stopping the underground trade of alcohol because we had a prohibition movement in America, and whatever America does, the rest of the world tries their best to match.
Yeah.
So, because alcohol is taxed heavily by the government and is criminalized via underage drinking, you need several particular licenses to own and sell. Whereas if you bought a bunch of stolen cheese from someone and you're trying to sell it to a restaurant, yeah, you might get arrested, but like there aren't cops trying to bust you on that. You don't need a license
because
there's a lot less red tape involved with cheese because it's not an illicit substance.
So for alcohol, if you get caught, you got the IRS coming after you. You got the ATF. You got fucking all kinds of horse shit coming at you. For cheese, you got the police.
You have the police and one angry Italian.
Look, we need the cheese division. Can we get a cheese division of the government?
What would that be? The
Italian division.
The BDC. The BDC.
The BDC.
What is cheese?
The Bureau of Defensive Cheese. Or the Bureau of Cheese Defense.
I mean, how about just a stolen goods federation that tries to shut down the black market?
Yeah, but cheese is like really popular, so we're probably going to need a separate sub-branch for that one.
Yeah, that's the same reason we have the ATF. It's kind of...
I get it.
I mean, honestly, food is a really profitable thing to be in. Like, you think about the banana wars with the Banana Republic.
Mm-hmm.
You think about the avocado mafia.
Yeah. You know, all those goods are also really hard to trace, too. Because, like, you know, alcohol is usually branded to some degree, and so are things like firearms, gold, money's printed with literally serial numbers on them. You know what cheese gets?
A label and a list of ingredients.
A Best Buy date.
I mean, some cheese is definitely branded, like the
big authentic
Parmesan,
wheels.
Yeah,
the big wheels they store in those dusty ass like shelving units,
which also gets stolen quite a lot. But I feel like that's a different crime and probably contributes to the statistic, but isn't the thing people are.
Also, those are probably way riskier because those wheels are worth a lot.
They're at max, I think it's like $3,000 or $2,000 per wheel.
Okay, thousands of dollars.
But those wheels are like this big. They be pretty big.
God gives his hungriest boys his biggest cheese.
They're about the
wheels.
size of a wheel on a Kia Rio.
What an oddly specific choice of vehicle.
But anyway,
you're a Kia Rio.
Do you guys want to go over some cheese statistics again?
I would love some cheesy statistics.
Sure. Okay, cool.
The cheesy statistics.
Cheez-Its.
Cheesy. I love
cheesy. If global percentage holds true, 4% of cheese, roughly 12.7 billion pounds annually.
A minor inconvenience.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of 127,000 cars a year get stolen. And that's just in the U.S.?
That's just in the U.S.?
According to mashed.com.
Okay, Okay.
Mashed potato.
which cites the Agricultural Marketing Resource Center as their source.
Okay.
Yeah, and also the Environmental Protection Agency.
Gotta have those.
So
free-range cheese
that's
wheels.
just the U.S.
That's just the
So
US.
it could be more percentage of the world.
Yeah.
There's so
just
much
the only
cheese,
one
dog.
reported.
I bet there's more stolen cheese out there.
Oh, there's got to be so much. I think part of it is like Americans eat roughly 40 pounds of cheese a year, which you said sounds like a low ball.
That sounds insultingly low.
So much more cheese.
I feel like there are more healthy people than unhealthy ones, which is
That's a difficult statistic to peddle in America right now.
I mean, yeah, but generally speaking, there's always got to be enough healthy people to keep a population going, you know?
No.
Okay.
What do you guys think of the maggot cheese?
The maggot cheese?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You guys have heard of that.
I know what it is. I don't know what it's called.
It's illegal in the U.S.
It is.
It is.
Because it's extremely fucking dangerous to consume.
Is it? I thought it was illegal in the U.S. specifically because we don't like it, not because it's like deadly or anything.
It's not deadly.
So
per
the
se.
chances of maggots living in your stomach is low, but it's not zero, and when it does, it causes stomach failure, which means the acid seeps. It kills people.
This sounds like better odds than your average Chinese restaurant, though.
Probably, but like I don't have the numbers to back that up. Look, it's low but never zero, and the results of those low chances are absolutely catastrophic. In addition to people here not liking that kind of food. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Kinder Eggs are also outlawed here.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one's weird, but I kind of get the maggot cheese.
Well-
Apparently, so why that cheese is so good is because they like lay the maggot eggs and then they eat the cheese, and basically the shit that they produce is really good because of the cheese. The enzymes in it bind with some of the stuff in the maggot's stomach, and apparently the goop that comes out is really good.
Yeah,
It sounds absolutely horrid, absolutely abhorrent.
it doesn't. It doesn't if you
Disgusting.
understand. If you understand how taste works. This is why
Yes.
cooked food always tastes better than uncooked food. We taste things the more prevalent the nutrients in it are, and things that have been partially digested will always taste better than things that haven't.
Right.
That's why when you chew on your food, it tastes better than when you just have it in your mouth.
Right.
That's why there are several examples of things you can think of that are like partially digested. That's why after food has been food processed, like blended, it tastes more strongly sometimes.
Yeah. But suffice it to say, the reason why that cheese is, well, first off, so popular in foreign lands is because it's really fucking good. And they pay a premium for it. Hundreds of dollars for small wheels. But it's also maggot shit cheese. Literally. That's not even a joke. I'm not even trying to be disgusting. That is actually what it is. And it's good.
I wonder how much of it gets stolen. You think about 4%?
Imagine,
annually?
dude, you're in prison and you look to the guy next to you. So, what'd you go in for? I stole some maggot shit-infested cheese.
I'm the guy who's been smuggling maggot shit-infested cheese to the U.S.
Just take a maggot...
That's a hard guy. That's a hard man.
That goes hard as fuck. Do you think Shadow did that?
On the list of Shadow's crimes, cheese larceny.
Cheese.
Cheese larceny.
Maggot shit larceny.
Freaky.
That's a record for the books. Well, this has been a very, very cheesy episode.
We have shower thoughts with Spencer.
Oh, yes.
Let's wash off some of the cheese.
Yeah, some cheese and general stink from talking about Sonic for as long as we did.
Yeah.
So here is today's shower topic. If my body is a temple, therefore I am a church and exempt from paying taxes.
Okay, holds up, kind of, sort of. The tax-free exemption is obviously very, very thoroughly vetted before you get a tax exemption from the IRS.
But my body.
So they need to. Well, they need to vet your body.
Freaky.
Also, established religions are taxed differently than cults. The U.S. government actually historically really hates cults. You can look into several like massacres and whatnot that have gone on when the U.S. has like actively antagonized cults into armed conflict on U.S. soil.
And then murdered them all.
Yeah.
Based.
Not based. Not epic. Bad. Bad. Bad.
Bad.
Bad.
Bad.
Also, the mass suicide cults do and the general abusive relationships that form in cults, also bad, bad, bad.
Well, yeah.
There aren't many good guys when you talk about cults, especially in America.
What about ridding cults?
But generally speaking...
What about shitting cults?
Shut the fuck up.
But generally
I'm gonna desecrate your temple.
But generally speaking, to make it so you don't get taxed as a religion,
temple.
you need to prove that you're an established religion and not a cult. You need to have a certain number of worshipers. You need to have a church service.
Wait, so people with high body counts, they can be a church?
Shit.
I guess if enough people worship you, you count as a church.
I need a bunch of people to enter my temple.
Wait. Viral moment. There was that girl who fucked 100 dudes in a day on, like, her OnlyFans.
Dude, she's committing tax fraud.
She could say the dudes worshipped her temple and try to claim tax exemption.
My God. This is stupid.
That's an S-tier shit post right there.
Oh, yeah. That's my favorite.
Well, hold on. They need to regularly worship, though. So she needs to make it like an annual event to stay tax-free.
Annual? Hell yeah.
Look, man, I'm cheese.
I'm movie.
I'm and.
Cheese and movie?
Yes.
Movie and cheese.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, it's cheesy movie and...
Well, guys, all the cheese is out of my toes. I'm going to throw my running shoes on, and I've got to accelerate out of here.
Freaky ass shoes.
Signing off.